When the sun goes down and the sky becomes dark, the river calls Obinna to her. "Come, my lover, come to me, come home." Obinna would rise from his sleep and obey the call of the river. He would run to her as fast as he could, not as a human, but as a spirit animal. Obinna was a little baby when his father dedicated him to the river goddess. He did it so that the goddess could heal his wife of the sickness that had left her paralyzed since the day she gave birth to Obinna. "I give him to you as your groom. Just please let my wife live." Okafor wailed by the river bank as he stretched his baby to the river for her to take from him as the Dibia had instructed him. "Only the river goddess can heal your wife, and she must surely demand for his soul in return of the healing," the Dibia said calmly as he explained to Okafor. Okafor felt his heart break into two as he carried his newborn baby to the river. The river goddess had requested for his son. However, when the river goddess set her eyes on the little child, she felt compassion for him and decided not to take his life. Instead, she made him her lover. When your son clocks 12 years of age, every night he returned to a huge hippopotamus and dance with me till dawn. Before the sun comes up, he will be human again and live life like every other normal human. Okafor agreed joyfully. This meant both his son and his wife would live. He thanked the river goddess from the bottom of his heart and raced home with his little child in his arms. Before Obinna clocked 12, his father had explained everything that would happen to him in forms of stories, and he listened quietly. And when the river called him to her for the first time, his father was there to guide him so he wouldn't be afraid. And so that became the reality of Obinna's life. A human in the daytime and a huge hippopotamus at night. When Obinna clocked 15, his mother died peacefully in his sleep. No illness, nothing. His father mourned the loss of his wife, and he knew his life would never be the same. Obinna grew to be a quiet young man, a man of few words, yet powerful and wise. He did well for himself and his siblings, the ones his father bore from other women after his mother passed away. One day, when Okafor, Obinna's father, was on his sick bed, he called Obinna to his hut. "My son, it is my wish to see you get married and start your own family before I go to join my ancestors," Okafor said slowly in between coughs and sighs. Obinna held his father's hand. "Father, it is also my wish to have my own family, but you know the river calls me every night. I am her groom. I must heed her call." Okafor looked at his son with his weak eyes filled with regret and pity. Then he said, "You might be the river's groom, but you are my first son. This secret will be between us to my grave." Obinna massaged his father's arms and looked into his eyes. "Papa, what if the woman I marry finds out my secret? What will be my fate?" "The river will protect his own, my son. Do not worry," Okafor said, and immediately fell into a deep sleep. 4 months later, Obinna got married to Amara, the 4th daughter and last child of the village palm wine tapper. Amara was a beautiful young lady that everyone adored. She was the apple of her father's eyes. When Obinna and his kinsmen came to seek for her hand in marriage, she was reluctant. She held her mother's hand and spoke in whispers. "Mother, that man has eyes like one who has heavy secrets. If you look deep into his eyes, you'd see a large river in it. Her mother laughed. Ha ha, my daughter, you have started again. You want to chase this one away too, Abby? You are not a child anymore. You need to go and start your own family. Amara whispered again. Mother, I know what I'm saying. I can feel it strongly in me. Her mother's laughter turned to impatience. Amara, see, I don't have time for this. Obinna is a well-respected man in the village, and everyone knows him for his quiet and great lifestyle. He is the perfect man for you. Truly, Obinna seemed like the most perfect gentleman, but something made Amara unsettled. She could feel it strongly in her spirit that he wasn't an ordinary man. His eyes carried a presence, an aura that she couldn't put into words. Amara's father and his kinsmen accepted Obinna's proposal and gave their daughter's hand to him in marriage. In the first year of their marriage, nothing strange out of the ordinary happened. Amara gave birth to a son and everyone rejoiced. Obinna was the happiest. He would say quietly to himself, if the river decides to claim my soul now, I won't be sad, and my father wouldn't have to mourn for long because I have a seed of my own now. However, not long after the birth of his first son, his father Okafor went to join his ancestors. Obinna mourned for a while, but shortly after his father's death, his wife Amara gave birth to another son, and he rejoiced, ha, my father has come back to me. Life continued and was good until the night Amara woke up at midnight for the first time since she got married to Obinna. Ever since she got married to Obinna, she would lay on the mat with her husband and slowly drift to sleep. Not just any sleep, a deep sleep that caused her not to wake at all in the midnight till the cock crows when the sun comes out. But this particular night, Amara woke up and stretched her arm across the mat to the side where her husband slept, but it was empty. Obinna, she called gently, but no response. Obinna, she called again, a bit louder this time. I guess he has gone out to urinate like all men do, Amara said gently and returned to her sleep. By daybreak, when she woke up, she saw her husband sleeping peacefully beside her, like someone who didn't wake up at all through the night. However, the following night, Amara woke up again at midnight but couldn't find her husband beside her. She assumed he had gone out to urinate again. Strangely, Amara continued to wake up at the same hour every midnight, as if an invisible hand had woken her up, and every time her husband would be nowhere to be found. She began to become suspicious. One evening, she went to the river to wash clothes alongside her friends. Amara, Ngozi called her laughing with the other women. This one that you are lost in thought and not contributing to our discussion. I hope all is well. Amara let out a sigh but didn't give a response. Rather, she continued washing her clothes. Maybe her husband is seeing another woman, Naya, the village gossip said jokingly. Naya's words struck Amara's heart. Maybe Obinna is seeing another woman. Is that the reason why he sneaks out every midnight? This further fueled Amara's suspicions. Later that night, she called Obinna aside and asked him with eyes full of worry, "My husband, is it true that you are seeing another woman?" "Another woman?" Obinna asked, looking straight into her eyes. Amara answered him firmly, "Yes, my husband." Obinna let out a laugh. "My wife, I have no one else but you. You are my life and my all." Amara opened her mouth to ask him why he sneaks out at midnight, but she decided to swallow her words. "I will rather catch him red-handed than have him lie to me." she said to herself. That night, Amara made sure that she didn't fall asleep. When her husband brought in water for her to drink, as he always did every night, she pretended to drink it, but instead she spilled it on the ground. Then she closed her eyes and pretended to be asleep. She made sure she was opening her eyes at intervals so she wouldn't drift off to sleep. When midnight came and the village was still in silence like the graveyard, Amara heard her husband move. She opened her eyes slowly, and under the dim candlelight, she saw her husband stand up quietly and head out of the hut. She gently followed him in the dark and saw him enter his dead father's hut. She followed him behind quietly and peeped from the door. What her eyes saw, her mouth couldn't tell. Her husband was no longer the tall man she knew. Instead, a huge hippopotamus stood in the room. She quickly covered her mouth with her hands to prevent herself from screaming, and then she hid in a corner. In the twinkle of an eye, the hippopotamus sprang out of the room, and its foot made no sound. It was more like a spirit being. Amara tightened her wrapper and followed the animal all the way to the river. When the hippopotamus got to the river bank, it stopped running and slowly dived into the water. Amara couldn't believe her eyes. The river slowly opened up and embraced the animal. As the hippopotamus swam, beautiful rays of light emerged from the water in form of little spirit beings. When Amara looked closely at her husband, it didn't seem like an animal in danger. Rather, it felt like he was at home. Amara quietly left where she was hiding and went home. Sleep had left her eyes. She sat quietly on her mat and waited for her husband's return. Just before dawn, Obinna quietly entered the room and was shocked to his bones. "Amara, you are awake?" he asked like a little child caught stealing meat from his mother's pot. "Yes, I am awake, my husband. I hope you had a lovely time swimming in the river, my love," Amara said, looking directly into his eyes. Obinna's eyes widened. Did you see everything?" he asked, trembling. Amara smiled cunningly. "Oh yes, I did. I saw everything." I hope you enjoyed this story. Kindly like, share and subscribe so you will get notified when the part 2 drops. Thank you for watching.